So, you want to know what happened next? After I lost everything in one night? After I discovered my own fiancé had betrayed me? Well, let me tell you about the worst week of my life. And how I slowly realized that everyone I trusted was lying to me. It's Friday morning, 24 hours after my world collapsed. I haven't slept, haven't eaten. I'm sitting in my penthouse, staring at news reports about my own destruction. Coal industry's stock plummets 70%. Billionaire CEO faces bankruptcy. Tech empire crumbles overnight. They were talking about me like I was already dead. Like Ethan Cole was past tense. But here's the thing about losing everything. It clears your mind, strips away all the noise. And suddenly, you start seeing things you missed before. Like how Sophia had been acting strange for weeks. How she'd started asking weird questions about my business. How she'd suddenly become interested in our security protocols. I thought she was just being supportive, learning about my work. God, I was naive. So Friday morning, my phone starts ringing. Investors, board members, employees. Everyone wants answers I don't have. Everyone wants reassurance I can't give. But the call that really got to me? It was from my mother. Ethan, honey, I saw the news. Are you okay? My mother, 73 years old, living in the retirement home I pay for. Except now I couldn't even afford her medical bills. I'm fine, Mom. Just a temporary setback. Temporary setback. I was lying to my own mother. But what was I supposed to say? That her son, the success story she bragged about to all her friends, was now broke? That everything she was proud of was built on lies? After I hung up, I did something I hadn't done in years. I cried. Not because of the money. Money's just numbers. I cried because I realized how many people I was going to let down. My employees. My mother. Everyone who believed in me. But crying doesn't solve problems. Action does. So I decided to investigate. If someone close to me was working with Marcus, I was going to find out who. I was going to hunt down every person who betrayed me. I started with David, my best friend, my business partner, the guy who'd been by my side for 10 years. See, there were things that didn't add up about Thursday night. David said he'd been home when the hack happened. But when I called him, it took him 20 minutes to get to the office. 20 minutes from his apartment should have been 45 minutes at that time of night. So Friday afternoon, I did something I never thought I'd do. I followed my best friend. David left the office at exactly 5:30. Same time every day. But instead of going home, he drove to a coffee shop in Brooklyn. Not his usual spot. Not anywhere near his apartment. I parked across the street and watched. David sat at a corner table, checking his phone every 30 seconds. Like he was waiting for someone. 20 minutes later, someone joined him. Marcus Gray. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My best friend. The guy who was supposed to be helping me find the hacker. Sitting across from a hacker himself. They talked for exactly 15 minutes. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I could see their body language. This wasn't their first meeting. They knew each other well. When they left, Marcus handed David an envelope. David put it in his jacket without even looking inside. My best friend. The guy I'd trusted with my company. With my secrets. With my life. He was working for the enemy. You want to know what betrayal really feels like? It's not anger. Not at first. It's confusion. Your brain can't process it. It's like being told gravity stopped working. It doesn't make sense. I sat in my car for an hour after they left, just trying to understand. How long had David been planning this? Was our entire friendship fake? Was every moment we'd shared just him gathering information? When I finally drove home, Sophia was waiting for me. She'd made dinner. Salmon with asparagus. My favorite meal. She was wearing the dress I'd bought her in Paris. Trying to act normal. How was your day, baby? How was my day? I just discovered my business partner was a traitor. My company was destroyed. My life was in ruins. But I looked at her beautiful face and lied. Fine. Just dealing with the aftermath. I'm sure you'll figure it out. You always do. Always do. Like this was just another business challenge. Like I hadn't lost everything. But here's what really bothered me. She wasn't asking the right questions. When your fiancé's company gets destroyed, you ask about specifics. You want details. You offer to help. Sophia was acting like she already knew everything. Like she was waiting for me to catch up to information she already had. So I decided to test her. Sophia, what if we can't afford the wedding we planned? What do you mean? I mean, what if I lost most of my money? What if we had to scale back? Simple ceremony. No destination honeymoon. You want to know what her response was? She didn't even hesitate. Money doesn't matter, Ethan. I love you, not your bank account. Perfect answer. Too perfect. Like she'd rehearsed it. See, I'd learned something about people during my years in business. When someone gives you exactly the answer you want to hear, they're usually lying. Real emotions are messy. Complicated. They come with hesitation and genuine concern. Sophia's response was a performance. That night, after she went to sleep, I started my real investigation. See, being a tech CEO means you know how to access information. Even information people don't want you to have. I checked our home security system. Our cameras record everything. 24 hours a day. 7 days a week. I'd installed them for protection. Turns out, they were about to reveal something much worse than burglars. I pulled up footage from the past month. Started looking for patterns. Times when Sophia was acting strange. Times when she made phone calls she didn't want me to overhear. And there it was. 3 weeks ago. The same night someone used David's credentials to access our system. Sophia had left our apartment at 1 a.m. She told me she was going to get medicine for a headache. But the cameras showed her getting into a car I didn't recognize. She didn't come back until 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Exactly 30 minutes after the initial breach of our security system. But that wasn't all. I found 6 more instances over the past month. 6 times Sophia had left our apartment in the middle of the night. 6 times she'd returned hours later with some excuse about errands or friend emergencies. 6 times she'd lied to my face while I slept peacefully next to her. Saturday morning, I decided to confront David. Not about Marcus. Not yet. I needed to be smart about this. I needed to gather more evidence before I made any accusations. David, I need to ask you something, and I need complete honesty. Of course, man. What's up? The night of the hack. You said you were home, but it took you 20 minutes to get to the office. Oh, that. I was actually at my ex-girlfriend's place, picking up some stuff I'd left there. Didn't want to mention it because, Sarah gets weird about my past relationships. Sarah, his current girlfriend, who he'd been with for 3 years, who definitely wouldn't get weird about him having a past. Another lie. And not even a good one. David, we've been friends for 15 years. Don't lie to me. Not now. You want to know what he said? He looked me straight in the eye and said, Ethan, I would never betray you. You're like a brother to me. Brother. While he was actively working with the person who destroyed my life. That's when I realized something important. Everyone in my life was lying to me. My fiancée. My best friend. Probably others I hadn't discovered yet. But 2 could play that game. I started pretending I believed them. Started acting like I trusted David completely. Started telling Sophia I was confident we'd recover from this setback. Meanwhile, I was gathering evidence. Building a case. Preparing for war. See, here's what betrayers don't understand. When you've built a billion-dollar company, you learn how to play chess. Real chess. Where every move sets up moves 20 steps later. So I started feeding different information to different people. Told David I was meeting with one set of investors. Told Sophia I was pursuing a different recovery strategy. Told my assistant I was planning to relocate the company. All lies. But specific lies designed to flush out the mole. By Sunday, Lila had made another breakthrough. She'd traced the digital signatures from the hack. The attack wasn't just sophisticated. It was personal. Whoever did this had intimate knowledge of our company structure, our employee schedules, our security rotations. Mr. Cole, she told me, this wasn't just an inside job. This was planned by someone who'd been studying your company for years. Someone who knew your habits, your routines, your weaknesses. Years. Someone had been planning my destruction for years while pretending to be my friend. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about every conversation I'd had with David over the past year. Every time I'd shared sensitive information. Every time I'd asked for his advice on major decisions. Had he been reporting everything back to Marcus? Was every strategy session actually intelligence gathering? And Sophia. Sweet, beautiful Sophia who always seemed so interested in my work. Who asked such thoughtful questions about my business plans. Questions that now seemed like interrogations. Monday morning brought new horrors. The Pentagon called. They were reassessing our contract. Translation. They were giving it to someone else. Mr. Cole, we understand you're experiencing some technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. Like having your entire company stolen was just a software glitch. We've been approached by another firm with similar capabilities. Neural Tech Industries. Are you familiar with them? Neural Tech Industries. I'd never heard of them. But somehow, they had technology identical to mine. I spent the morning researching neural tech. Shell company. Incorporated just 2 weeks ago. No public information about their leadership. No track record. No previous contracts. But somehow they were offering the Pentagon the exact same AI capabilities we developed over 10 years. For half the price. It was my technology. Had to be. Marcus wasn't just stealing my company. He was rebuilding it under a different name. That afternoon, David called with more bad news. Ethan, I hate to tell you this, but 3 more investors pulled out. They're scared about the security breach. Scared. My investors were scared that if they stayed with me, they'd be next. Money follows money, but it runs even faster from failure. How much do we have left in operating funds? Maybe 6 weeks. If we cut all non-essential expenses. 6 weeks. To rebuild what took me 10 years to create. But here's what really bothered me about that call. David sounded rehearsed. Like he'd practiced delivering bad news. Like he knew exactly what to say to make me feel hopeless. That night, I made a decision. I was going to follow Sophia. She told me she was going to dinner with her sister. Family emergency. Needed to be there for support. Her sister lives in New Jersey. Sophia drove to Manhattan. I followed her from a distance. Watched her park outside a hotel I didn't recognize. Not a nice hotel. Not the kind of place Sophia would normally go. She walked into the lobby like she'd been there before. Confident. No hesitation. This wasn't her first visit. I waited 10 minutes, then followed her inside. The lobby was nearly empty. Just a few people who looked like they were conducting business they didn't want public. I asked the desk clerk if he'd seen a woman in a red coat. Slipped him $200. She went up to room 712. Been coming here every week for a month. Every week. For a month. While she was sleeping next to me every night, she was meeting someone in this hotel every week. I took the elevator to the 7th floor. The hallway was long and dim. Room 712 was at the end. I pressed my ear to the door. I know it sounds pathetic. A billionaire listening at doors like a teenager. But I needed to know. I could hear 2 voices. Sophia's. And a man's voice I didn't recognize at first. Then Sophia laughed. Not her polite social laugh. Her real laugh. The one she used to save for me. I heard fragments of conversation. Ethan suspects, David is getting nervous. Need to move faster? They were talking about me. Planning something. And Sophia was giving them information about my state of mind. My suspicions. My plans. Then I heard something that made my blood freeze. Marcus, what if he finds out about us? Marcus. She said Marcus. Marcus Gray. The hacker who destroyed my company. Sophia wasn't just working with him. She was personally involved with him. The woman I was going to marry was having an affair with the man who stole my life. I don't know how long I stood there. Could have been minutes. Could have been hours. Time stops when your heart breaks. Then I heard footsteps approaching the door. They were leaving. I ran to the stairwell. Hid behind the fire door. Watched them come out together. Marcus Gray. I hadn't seen him in 5 years, but I recognized him immediately. Tall. Thin. That arrogant smirk he used to wear when he thought he was smarter than everyone else. And Sophia. My Sophia. Walking next to him like they were a couple. Like I was the stranger. They took separate elevators down. Smart. Professional. This wasn't passion. This was business. But business mixed with something else. When Marcus touched her arm before they separated, she smiled. The same smile she used to give me. I followed Marcus outside. Watched him get into a black Tesla. Expensive car for someone who was supposedly broke and vengeful. I memorized his license plate. His clothes. Everything. I was going to hunt him down. But first, I had to deal with the traitor sleeping in my bed. I drove home slowly. Thinking. Planning. How do you confront someone who's been lying to you for months? How do you look at the person you love and see your enemy? By the time I got back to the penthouse, Sophia was already there. Making tea in our kitchen. Acting perfectly normal. How was your sister? I asked. Oh, much better. Thanks for asking. Family drama, you know how it is. Family drama. While she was actually meeting with the man who stole $500 million from me. I watched her make tea. The same routine she'd done 1,000 times. Everything normal. Everything perfect. Everything fake. Sophia, can I ask you something? Of course, baby. If you could change anything about the past month, what would it be? She thought about it. Actually considered the question. Like she was choosing which lie to tell me. I guess I'd want to spend more time together. I feel like we've been distant lately. distant, because she was busy planning my destruction with her secret boyfriend. Yeah, I felt that too. Like you've had other things on your mind. Just work stress. You know how it is. Work stress. Her job was running charity events for rich people. What stress could that possibly involve? That night, I pretended to go to sleep early. Told her I was exhausted from everything with the company. But really I was testing her. Would she sneak out again? Would she make secret phone calls? Would she finally slip up and reveal her true nature? At 11:30, she got up, whispered something about getting water. But instead of going to the kitchen, she went to my study. I followed her silently, watched through the crack in the door. She was on my computer, my personal computer, typing frantically, copying files onto a USB drive. My files, my personal documents, financial records, business plans, even my private emails. Everything I was working on to rebuild my company. She was stealing it in real time. I wanted to burst in, confront her, demand explanations, but I forced myself to stay hidden. I needed to see how deep this went. She copied files for 20 minutes. Then she made a phone call. It's done. I have everything he's planning. His recovery strategy, his investor contacts, his backup accounts. Backup accounts. I'd been smart enough to keep some money hidden. Emergency funds she wasn't supposed to know about. But somehow, she knew exactly where to look. Yes, I can get the passwords. He trusts me completely. Trusts me completely. Past tense. Because after tonight, that trust was dead. She hung up and crept back to bed. Lay down next to me like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't just stolen the last hope I had of rebuilding my life. I lay there for hours, listening to her breathe, watching her sleep peacefully, marveling at how someone could betray you and then sleep like a baby afterward. Tuesday morning, I started my counter-investigation. If Sophia and David were working together, I needed proof. Real proof. Not just suspicions. I called Lila Torres, the cybersecurity expert who was helping me trace the original hack. Lila, I need you to do something that might not be completely legal. What kind of not completely legal? I need you to hack into someone's phone. Someone I think is working with Marcus. Mr. Cole, if I do this, it could compromise our investigation. Evidence obtained illegally won't hold up in court. I'm not interested in court anymore. I'm interested in the truth. Lila was good. Really good. Within 2 hours, she gained access to Sophia's phone records, text messages, call logs, GPS data. What we found was worse than I'd imagined. Sophia had been in contact with Marcus for 4 months. 4 months. Since before our engagement. Their first conversation was the day after I'd told her about the Pentagon contract. The day after I'd shared my biggest business secret with the woman I loved. She'd told Marcus everything. Our security protocols, our client lists, our financial structures, even personal details about my habits and routines. But the text messages revealed something even worse. When this is over, we can finally be together properly. That was from Marcus. I can't wait to stop pretending with him. That was Sophia's response. Stop pretending. Our entire relationship was pretend. Every I love you, every intimate moment, every time she'd acted proud of my success. All of it was performance. But the worst message, the one that really broke me, sometimes I almost feel sorry for him. He really thinks I love him. From Sophia. Don't go soft on me now. Remember what he did to my career. He deserves everything that's coming. From Marcus. They weren't just stealing from me. They were enjoying it, getting pleasure from my pain. The woman I'd planned to spend my life with thought hurting me was entertainment. That afternoon, I made a decision. I was going to play their game, but I was going to play it better. I called David, told him I had a new lead on recovering our stolen money, asked him to meet me that evening to discuss strategy. Then I called Sophia, told her I was feeling depressed about the company, asked if she wanted to have a quiet dinner at home. I was setting traps, and I was about to find out just how deep this conspiracy went. David arrived at 6. Sophia started cooking at 6:30. Perfect timing. Both of my betrayers in the same room. So what's this new lead? David asked. I found traces of the stolen money. Offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. But I need someone I trust completely to help me track them down. I watched his face carefully, looking for any sign that he already knew about the offshore accounts. Count me in, he said. Whatever you need. Whatever I need. From the man who was actively working to destroy me. Sophia was making pasta, acting like the perfect supportive fiancée, asking about my day, offering encouragement about the recovery efforts. all while she'd spent the afternoon sending Marcus detailed reports about my emotional state. "You seem better today," she said. "More hopeful." "Yeah, I think we might actually recover from this." I watched her reaction carefully. She tried to hide it, but I saw the flash of concern in her eyes. She didn't want me to recover. She wanted me broken. That's when I knew for certain. This wasn't just about helping Marcus for money or blackmail. Sophia actively wanted to see me fail. During dinner, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Stop investigating, or things will get much worse for you." I showed the message to David and Sophia. Watch their reactions. David looked angry. "Someone's threatening you? We should call the police." Sophia looked scared. "Maybe we should back off. Focus on rebuilding instead of investigating." Back off. Stop investigating. Exactly what the person sending threats would want me to do. Sophia wasn't just working with Marcus. She was protecting him, actively trying to stop me from finding him. That night, I pretended to go to sleep early again. But this time, I was ready. I'd installed tracking software on Sophia's phone. If she left the apartment, I'd know exactly where she went. At midnight, my phone buzzed. Sophia was on the move. I followed her at a distance. She drove to a parking garage in Queens. Industrial area. No cameras. No witnesses. I parked 2 blocks away and followed on foot. The garage was mostly empty. Just a few cars scattered across multiple levels. Sophia's red BMW was parked on the 3rd level. But she wasn't alone. Marcus was there. And they weren't just talking business. He had his arms around her. She was kissing him like she'd kissed me 1,000 times. My fiancée. With my enemy. In a secret location they'd clearly used before. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was what I heard them say. "Phase 2 starts tomorrow," Marcus said. "David will lead Ethan into the trap." "What if he doesn't take the bait?" Sophia asked. "He will. He trusts David completely. And David knows exactly how to manipulate him." Phase 2. This wasn't over. Stealing my company was just the beginning. They had more planned. More ways to destroy me. And David, my best friend. He wasn't just a traitor. He was the trap. I crept back to my car. Drove home in a daze. Tried to process what I'd learned. Everyone I loved was working against me. Everyone I trusted was playing a role. My entire life was a stage, and I was the only one who didn't know it was a performance. When I got home, Sophia was already back. Lying in our bed. Pretending to sleep. I lay down next to her. This woman who'd betrayed me. This woman who was planning my further destruction. And I started planning my revenge. See, here's what Marcus and Sophia and David didn't understand. They thought breaking me would make me give up. They thought taking my money would make me powerless. But they forgot something important. I didn't build a billion-dollar company by giving up when things got hard. I built it by fighting back when everyone said I couldn't win. They wanted to play games? Fine. I'd play games. They wanted to use my trust against me? I'd use their arrogance against them. They thought they'd won. They had no idea what a desperate billionaire could do when he had nothing left to lose. Tomorrow, David was going to lead me into whatever trap they'd planned. But I'd be ready, because now I knew the truth. My name is Ethan Cole. Everyone I loved betrayed me. Everyone I trusted was my enemy. But betrayal works both ways. In next episode, I'll tell you about the trap David set for me, about what I discovered in Marcus's secret headquarters, and about the moment I realized this conspiracy wasn't just about revenge. It was about something much bigger. Something that made my billion-dollar company look like pocket change. Because when you're hunting your betrayers, you sometimes discover that you were never the real target. You were just the first step in a plan that could destroy everything. Next episode teaser, Episode 3, The Trap. I walk into David's setup, but I'm not as helpless as they think. What I discover about Marcus's real plan will shock you. And the person funding this entire operation? Someone who's been watching me for years.